Hey everyone, welcome back. Mitch here. One of the things I've really been missing while under quarantine is trips to Ikea with my best friend. The first thing we would do as soon as we would walk in, we'd go straight up to the food court and get ourselves a plate of meatballs, maybe some extra meatballs too, we're not gonna lie. But needless to say, we were really excited when a few weeks back, Ikea decided to drop their meatball recipe on the world. Taking a look at this recipe, I'm already seeing there's a few things that we need to tweak, but we're gonna put our updated recipe in the description down below. Let's give it a try. So the first thing I'm gonna point out about this recipe that really drives me crazy is that the measurements are all over the place. So you have some things that are really precise with weight measurements and other things that are really vague, like 1 onion finely chopped, 1 clove of garlic finely chopped. So what's the actual measurement for 1 onion or 1 clove of garlic? It's impossible for everyone to make this recipe and for it to come out exactly the same unless you know the actual weight of those items. The problem with saying something like 1 onion is that what size onion? A small onion, a medium onion, a large onion? What's your perception of small, medium, or large onions? So to give you an example, I've weighed 3 onions that I had in my cupboard, and you can see the huge difference between a small, a medium, and a large onion. So my second gripe with this recipe is that it says that the onions are finely chopped. Now, if you've ever had an Ikea meatball, you know that there is no little chunks of onions in those meatballs. They are a very, very smooth texture. So we're gonna go ahead and grate our onion instead to get it nice and fine so it sort of melts into that meat. Now that it's time to mix everything together, you want to be sure not to overmix here. So the more you handle it, the more you mess with it, the tougher those meatballs are going to be. We want them to be light and airy and fluffy. The best way to form them is to use an ice cream scoop. So again, you want to handle them as little as possible, and you want to just roll them just slightly to get the shape, but don't overwork them. Of course, what would Ikea meatballs be without the gravy? So here we're going to be making a roux. So we're going to start off by melting butter, adding our flour, cooking down just a little bit, and we're going to add our stock. Now, if you don't have stock on hand, you could also use bouillon. Here I've used beef bouillon and vegetable stock. Lastly, right before it's done, we're going to mix in our cream and set it aside. For our last step, we're gonna fry up our meatballs. Now the recipe calls to fry them lightly and then bake them in the oven for 30 minutes. 30 minutes would be way too long, so I just baked them for about 10 to 15 minutes until they were cooked all the way through. Okay everyone, our meatballs are done. And just for this one time only, I've brought in a certifiable ball expert.
That's me!
Welcome, Flip. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. And thank you more for these delicious meatballs.
Okay.
That's right.
So I paired them with an egg noodle because...
Yeah.
Why not? Right? Okay. So... right off the bat, I'm gonna say that the texture is totally different from Ikea texture. These are much looser, they're much softer. All right, so here goes.
Oh yeah, we definitely have a winner.
This is delicious.
Yes, these are fantastic.
But I don't think they taste anything like Ikea meatballs.
They taste better.
So,
and perhaps soon we will market them. And you guys can help us.
Oh boy. I'm gonna say if we're looking to copycat Ikea meatballs, this has failed. But if we're looking to make a damn good meatball, I think we've more than succeeded.
Yes, absolutely. Especially for you guys out there trying to impress a nice, eligible lady. You know what I mean?
What is wrong with you?
Yeah. It's important, okay?
We're in a pandemic. Nobody's dating.
People are lonely and they gotta cook because they can't go outside to a restaurant, all right? So you gotta make meatballs to impress the ladies. You know what I'm talking about.
It's not. Thanks, everyone. Catch us next time. Bye.